Hello, everybody. How are we doing? All right, so we know we are the last session before lunch, so we'll try and keep this as interesting as we can. We know that we're the only thing holding you from here in the buffet, so we'll do our best, but we got some good things in store today. And what we're going to be talking about is the state of media in the retail outlook. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, I thought we could do some quick introductions. So Eileen, we can start with you if you want to just share who you are, what you do, and what does your company do?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Eileen Becker, VP of Sales Operations and Client Services at TMB, also known as Trusted Media Brands. So I do a lot of our enablement functions, anywhere from business insights, training and productizing through to account management. TMB, we are a community-driven entertainment and media company that spans digital, CTV, email, social, print, and events. And excited to be here with you guys.
Awesome. Hello again. My name is Nicole Muscatello. I am VP of Sales at Undertone. I work directly with our sales teams and many of our brand partners to bring dynamic, high-impact experiences to our CPG and retail brands that help kind of condense the funnel from awareness to purchase.
Awesome. And I'm Jessamyn Myers. I work for Oakley, which is why I'm wearing sunglasses on my head right now. But I handle all of our Oakley retail initiatives from a marketing side for our standalone brick and mortar stores. So really looking to build those athlete-inspired, sports-driven communities across our 185 doors in the US and Canada. All right, so as we were meeting to decide what we wanted to talk about today, one topic that came up in every single question, every single thing that we said was creative. So we wanted to start there and would love to open it up to our panelists to just understand a little bit about what role creative plays in the consumer experience and path to conversion.
Yeah, I'll kick it off since I have the mic. I think creative plays the biggest role. We know that every single purchase is rooted in emotion, whether it's emotion of, I love this brand, I have to have it, I didn't know they came out with a new model, or emotion in, wow, it's tougher times, this price point is right for my family, and this is going to make sure that our, in the couple months ahead are going to be steady for us. So we're making sure that every single creative that we put in market, and I think brands that are doing it best are those that personalize the experience to that exact consumer. That's things like bringing in localized messaging, so where they know they can get the product, whether it's on an e-com environment or whether it's in store. What does that look like? Is it accessible to them? Secondarily, it's bringing in that kind of price and item. So is this product even within my reach? How do I use dynamic messaging to bring in those relevant, offers or couponing and things like that? So creative from that standpoint is making sure that every single element is personalized to the user that's seeing the ad.
Creative is really king when it comes to ultimately leading someone down the path to purchase. I think from that initial moment of inspiration or awareness or education, that's going to be really important in building that interest, right? And as you're moving someone down the funnel. So creative is going to be important as you're tailoring that messaging down the funnel. So from that initial inspiration or intrigue that you're getting to that user, how are you then tailoring it down to make sure that you're following that person all the way through to purchase? And I think tailoring also for the platform is really important. When you think about creative that's going to run on TV or CTV, that's more of a leaned back experience. So you're tailoring that to make sure that you're, again, getting that initial interest and then moving that to maybe a digital or social platform as you're ultimately moving that person to purchase.
Love it. And I think the personalization is an expectation at this point for the consumer, right? Like if you don't have that and you're just serving them with a whatever ad, you're going to lose their attention immediately. And so I know a lot of the themes also tie back to data in order to get that personalization that the consumer is seeking, right? So I wanted to understand how you both leverage the power of data to optimize performance.
Yeah, data is so critical. We all know that, right? It's a power word in the industry. So one, finding your target consumer, right? That's the kind of step one is really important. And I also think something that we do at TMB is we think about thoughtful adjacencies. So yes, you have your key consumer, your key target, someone that you know you're going after or want to build loyalty around. But building a consumer profile that you understand the different touch points that user might be around or that consumer. So yes, it might be a mom or dad getting dinner on the table, looking to do it in the most price-effective way, in the most efficient way, coming home from work, all of those things. But they also might be a painter. They might be looking to do home projects. They're a sports enthusiast, so not being afraid to kind of test and learn those thoughtful adjacencies, different touch points. It's so important when it comes to driving purchase. Test and learn, creative optimization, all of those things are so important when it comes to data and ultimately driving purchase.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Everything that we're doing from a data standpoint goes back to and ties into personalization, how we're speaking to the right consumer in the right way. So, striking first-party data relationships with retailers to access that data allows us to kind of subset that and understand who is it that we're speaking to, and then create that messaging that makes sense for them. So coupling that with things like CRM data, lookalike data, third-party segments, location-based data, really to understand kind of who the consumers are and how we need to engage with them at the right time. One of the panels that I was on earlier with Dennis who's the Chief Strategy Officer at Wavemaker, mentioned that we're really at a pivotal moment of protecting your core audiences, but also finding new. So we're utilizing data and kind of combining the power of that with our AI systems to understand how we're reaching those two kind of audiences very differently.
Absolutely. And I think in addition to using the data to optimize the performance results, how are we thinking about success on a broader scale? And I know we talked a lot about, how do we determine if the creative is resonating with your audience? Nicole mentioned emotional effectiveness, and would love for each of you to dive in a little bit more about what success means to you and how you're measuring.
Yeah, emotional effectiveness is something that we start with for sure. Is we've tested every single creative that we run within our network on that kind of emotional scale to make sure that what you're putting in market is going to deliver and kind of evoke that sort of next step or emotion for your brands. And then separately from that too is I think marketers in general have just always thought that awareness and performance had to be two separate tactics. So we're measuring success in a way that you can utilize media that does both at the same time. So if you're really personalizing that experience for your consumer, you're driving those kind of brand affinity and brand lift metrics, but also at the same time driving them towards that kind of purchase and consideration as well. So I think they can work together, and finding a sweet spot to marry them is key for success.
Yeah, absolutely, Nicole. And so what my team does a lot at TMB, so we're in the weeds. We are focused on performance, insights, and building that ultimately measurement for our clients. And I think what's really important, and we see, given that we operate on a multitude of platforms, is that measurement looks different depending on the platform that you're operating in, right? So talked about CTV being more of a lean back experience. So here you're going to be looking more at purchase intent, brand lift, those kinds of things that are ultimately going to help move the needle, but maybe not make that initial purchase. But then when you move into other platforms that are a little bit pushing more towards that lower funnel, we're able to measure more things like, not only purchase intent, but add to carts and ultimately sales. So I think that's really important, thinking about your platform and how you're looking at them holistically, not forgetting about awareness when you're ultimately looking for purchases, but knowing that there are distinct measurement tools for each different platform.
Great. And Eileen, I think you had a great example the other day of partnering with Amazon to drive purchase too. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we partner with a few different vendors in the space. Amazon's one of them, Chicory's another, Micmac, ultimately looking to drive purchase. And so what that does, it helps enable us. We know that data is fragmented in the retail space. I think that's an innate industry challenge, and would love to collaborate on tackling that together as a group. But yeah, so the more that we work with partners that are experts in the space can ultimately prove out that attribution for us. We're able to provide that inspiration moment for clients, and then partner to able to measure that success.
That's great. And I know you mentioned just some challenges already, which tees up, I think, to the next question, which is around what are some of your greatest challenges right now, and how are you working to overcome them?
Yeah, so I just talked about it. I think fragmentation of measurement is a big challenge, and I'm sure a lot of us feel that. There are walled gardens of a lot of the retail media networks out there. And so the more we can break down those walls or understand what types of data we can share back with one another is ultimately going to make us stronger as a collective industry. If I think about another challenge while we're here, something that Nicole touched on a little bit is not forgetting about upper funnel awareness. We know that it's been a really challenging few years from the pandemic, economic downturn, and ROAS has become more important than ever, understandably so. But it's really important that we're having that full funnel experience and not forgetting about, that excitement and that inspiration and that intrigue that you build with brands through content and upper funnel kind of products and tactics is so important to ultimately proving out that ROAS. So thinking about that full customer journey is something that we can't forget about.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. On the fragmentation piece, I think it's identifying where attribution models are flawed and where you don't have access to consistent reporting, and understand how you can actually measure incrementality in the right way. Also doubling down on kind of your point about, budgets are tight, but we do need to understand that branding and upper funnel still does play a key role in part of the media mix, and not forgetting about that, but maybe being a little bit more strategic in how we're utilizing the creative and the messaging that we have in market to do a little bit of both at the same time. And then also just providing value for the consumer. I think that's key more than ever, and we've heard that a couple of times already, is how is your brand showing up for them during times when they need them most, and how are you putting that messaging in front of them that's going to resonate?
Awesome. Definitely feel that struggle between the upper funnel and the drive to purchase, right? And it's great to hear that you're not alone, right? These challenges are challenges that you two are facing, and I'm sure many in the audience as well. So great to be able to put our heads together to think through some solutions. And I love the suggestions that both of you offered. Pivoting a little bit, are you able to share with the group? And I'm going to start with Eileen because she's got a good story here. But we talked a bit, and we've heard it several times today about ChatGPT and AI. Would love to hear just a little bit about how you're both working to create a personal experience for the consumer. And Eileen, I'm really sure that the group would enjoy your story about a bad lasagna recipe.
Yes, absolutely. I could talk to you guys about ad personalization and all of that, but most importantly, let's talk lasagna. So our editors, we've been at TMB, we've been really interested in AI and ChatGPT and testing and learning, kind of exploring what does that look like. It's a new space, really exciting, very buzzworthy. So our teams, tested out using AI to generate some recipes for Taste of Home, which is one of our brands. And I will say it was unsuccessful. The lasagna was inedible. So, we have a lot to learn, and I think it's such a cool space, and it's really exciting and intriguing, but test and learn is so critical and key, especially as we're kind of emerging in that platform.
I mean, I have to echo that. I think testing and learning, I haven't tried the lasagna recipe, so I can't echo that exactly, but testing and learning exactly is technology is a key, or is a tool, AI is a tool. Let's use it that way, but let's be smart in the ways that we're using it and making sure we're using the capabilities in a way that's unbiased, but also strategic, using it to automate some of the things that we do to make us work a little bit harder and a little bit smarter. And then also, some of the ways that we're testing ChatGPT and AI is just doubling down on personalization. I feel like I can't say that enough today, is how can we make the message curated to this consumer? And that's not just saying 1, 2, 3 audience sets, that's saying hundreds of thousands of audience sets, making sure that we're reaching every single unique individual in a unique way.
All right. Yeah. So the personalization is so important, but yet there are some current challenges that can make personalization tough as we look to the future, right? So would love to hear, and I'm going to start with you, Nicole, because I know you already have some solutions in place, but how are you tackling, just as we move away from third-party cookies and just the ever-present privacy challenges that are just so top of mind right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're thinking about this every single day. I think there are a couple of issues. One is the deprecation of cookies. Is it happening this year? Is it happening next year? Nobody really knows anymore. The other is privacy. And I think consumers are standing up and saying, I want to protect my privacy online, and I'm more cognizant of this than ever. So that's where we've kind of pushed past whether or not cookies are going to go away and doubled down on how to create a solution that is user safe using non-personally identifiable solutions to reach those consumers. So internally, we've built an AI tactic that allows, in a matter of milliseconds, analyzing the user that lands within our network, external signals, internal signals, and utilizing kind of some of the creative data that we have in-house to find intenders of your brand versus lookalikes of your brand based on cookies. So, for example, maybe I'm cooking dinner for my family at 3 p.m. I'm scrambling. Like, I want that ad for what I need to purchase and what I need to put in my cart to make that lasagna. But maybe it's not super relevant for me at 10 p.m. at night when I've already kind of done that. Maybe it's Friday. I'm never doing it again this week till the next weekend. So really utilizing this type of technology to understand when the users are in the right mindset to convert on your brand. It's not the only thing we're doing. I mean, I think we're utilizing a lot of the obvious tactics, contextual, ID-based solutions that are coming in market. I think it's all about testing and being prepared and showing the brands the value of it before it's really even needed.
Yeah, and at TMB, we've really leaned into first-party data several years ago. We started out by overhauling our site taxonomy. That was a giant project, but making sure that we, are understanding what types of content this is, how our users are engaging with that is so important. And that was really the foundation that we started to build our first-party data. We also partnered with the DMP Permutive, and really we are, in a privacy-compliant way, building data points on every part of our user journey, which really has enabled us to build thousands of cohorts that we're able to leverage for targeting for our clients to understand our own consumer marketing efforts. And we've really seen a ton of success there in building that out. What is also exciting is this is a little bit more recent is that we have a robust affiliate program at TMB, and that I think is really exciting to me as I think about shoppability and retail and how we're ultimately driving purchase. And that from our affiliate programs, we're able to understand what price points people are shopping at. Are they shopping for $1,000 tech items, or are they shopping for $50 things for their homes? We can understand kind of what their pressure points are from a pricing perspective, what categories they're interested in, what are their preferred retailers? Are they Amazon shoppers? Are they Walmart shoppers? Things like that. So we're really excited to just continue to collect different data points and understand our users in a deeper way, particularly when it comes to what purchases they're making.
Love it. Love it. Kind of makes me feel a little bit better about whatever's going on with third-party cookies. So pivoting a bit, wanted to ask you both what you each predict for the future of media as a whole. I know we're kind of in a state of up and down and a little bit of unknown, so would love to hear from each of you just like, what do you think is going to happen? What's next for media?
Yeah. So I'm interested and I'm hopeful that we're going to start to see maybe some more collaboration among the walled garden vendors. I think there's starting to be a lot of kind of collaboration in terms of understanding that, we can't continue to operate this way while building a successful media ecosystem. So I'm hopeful of that. I might be a little bit optimistic. I'm very understanding of that. But that's my hope for the future and something that I think we've started to see some of those trends, but excited to see that kind of continue.
I'll share that same hope. I think the ask is going to come from a lot of brands too, is in order for them to make the best decisions for their business, for their consumers, we're going to have to break down the walls of retail media networks so that the attribution is shared across many different parties. We're utilizing new creative techniques, we're utilizing new ad formats, we're utilizing other data sets. So I think that collaboration is key and definitely something that we're starting to hear from some of our partners as something they want to explore and how can we get involved in that conversation as well.
That's great. And I know we also talked to a little bit about just the importance of reviews, and like hearing directly from people that have used the product firsthand that are posted. And just, I know I'm always finding myself going down and looking for that review to see the product on the person or like in action. So helpful just to gain that trust and credibility. Yeah. Awesome. So as we think about the future of media, that also means the future of talent and who are the next marketers to come take the stage in the world of media and marketing. So we'd love to hear, and we can start with you, Nicole, since you've got the mic. What advice would you give young marketers today?
I think a couple of things. I think first, as the retail media world evolves, just be smart in the way that you're speaking to your partners. So this is not just speaking to the CMO or doing some research on the brand. It's really understanding what their challenges are from the core, understanding how to have a conversation with the chief commercial officer differently than the CMO, differently than the agency. So really coming in as that kind of trusted partner and being someone that is going through some of those struggles and troubles with them as well, almost as an extension of their team. And then separately also, This is crazy what is happening with ChatGPT right now. We're on the cusp of a revolution in terms of AI, and things are moving at rapid speed. So I would say use that as an opportunity to test and learn. Don't be afraid to fail in some of your kind of incubator environments. See what's working, see where you can evolve, and just stay ahead of the curve. Use it as ways to optimize your efficiencies internally, but also do better for your consumers.
Yeah, and I think in addition to what Nicole said, find the right partners. I think find partners that are really going to be in it with you, be consultative for you, and work as hard as you are for the success of your business. And from there, be honest, be brutally honest, what's working, what isn't working, what your needs are. We see that on the pub side, I think we see that our most successful partnerships have that consultative kind of approach on the brands as well. Not only success for us, but our brand partners tell us this. And so I think the more you can kind of foster those types of relationships, be brutally honest, even if it hurts sometimes. Trust me, we can take it. It's okay. And we'll work just as hard for you. And so I think find those partners that you can do that with.
Wonderful. Well, before we close, we just wanted to thank Brand Innovators for hosting today, to the sponsors, and then also for Group M for having us here in this amazing space. It's really cool. So we can go ahead and open it up for questions.
Okay. So someone over here. Go on. Come.
Hi, Trisha Allen from Radical AI. Nicole, you mentioned something really interesting at the very beginning about emotion and how you test a lot of the creative that you work with to understand emotion. Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate on how you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. We work with an awesome partner called System 1 to measure both emotional response as well as attention to our ads. So when we're looking at it from an emotion standpoint, we measure everything from positivity to neutrality to negative emotions. And this creative testing is actually done before launch because we want to understand, do we want to put this in market, or do we need to find a way to optimize and evolve this? So one of the really interesting things that we've learned is that delivering that neutrality is like death for your brand. If you're creating some sort of negative emotion, that's something you can build off of. Positive, obviously, of course, is what you want to strive for, but it's a great test and learn environment to be able to understand that. And then additionally, what they're able to do now is also measure attention of, okay, are we creating that emotional response, yes or no? And then how much are we gathering their attention and how much deeper are they going to? So it's been a great asset to our brand, to our partners, and really helped kind of, I would say, transform the way they're thinking about their media and the creative that they're putting in market.
I have a part B to that question. Thank
Yep,
you.
of
That
course.
was very helpful. Understanding that you do that work up front with the creative, which is fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
how do you then take those learnings and activate it within the media space?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're sharing these insights with our partners up front before we go in market. So not only is it that kind of like emotional scale, but there are also some actually real-time feedbacks. It's a panel-based study methodology. So, if we're surveying ourselves on Oakley Creative, they might say, oh, wow, I didn't know those sunglasses were in market, or, oh, I didn't know Oakley had this brand. And that gives us the idea of, okay, wow, maybe there's a brand awareness challenge that we need to focus on. Maybe we need to then optimize the way that we're reaching consumers in a different way because people are saying they didn't know this model exists. And we'll act differently depending on the different feedback that we have too. So it's very, very actionable. It's something that we can test and learn multiple times throughout a campaign life cycle too, because there is some seasonality that goes into it, whether it's relevant at the start of the campaign, middle, and et cetera.
Other questions?
All right, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Go enjoy
Thank
your
you.
lunch.